within this customer journey map. Here with you live, it's me, Anton. You know me, I hope, and it's him, it's Igor. Igor,
Yeah,
can you tell our spectators, our viewers about yourself? Maybe some highlights of your life. Maybe how do you feel today, and so on.
okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Igor Kotkov. I'm a privacy lawyer, work for Legal IT Group, and work on different projects within the privacy. It's GDPR, LGPD, CCPA, and today I'm going to share with you some tips and tricks about GDPR interaction within customer journey map and other interactions when customers visit the website and so on and so on.
Okay, we have first question from our viewers. Is it true that true privacy lawyer has to have a beard?
Yeah, that's definitely true. If you do
Mm.
not have a beard, you shouldn't call himself a privacy lawyer. Yeah,
Okay,
I guess.
thank you very much for such understandable answer. Okay, so let's move out and let's take a look at our topic today. Today, our topic is GDPR touches in frames of customer journey map. Actually, when I was thinking about this topic, I just thought okay, how should I call this moment when the user interacts with the system within his customer journey map? A stop, a pit stop, a touch, a point, and so on. And I decided to take the term touch because it's the touch of a system and a touch of his personal data, personal life. So today, a little bit about our speakers. Igor, as he told you before, is our privacy lawyer at Legal IT Group, and I'm Anton. I'm also a privacy lawyer at Legal IT Group, and we are here to talk about mostly marketing points when we have to use GDPR on practice. When we talk about interaction with customers, so that we will apply GDPR provisions, apply GDPR clauses within the journey of our customer. So let's start.
Let's start. Okay.
So what is our plan today, Igor?
Our plan today we'll be talking about CGM, Customer Journey Map, and data flow mapping. I guess Anton will share their experience in this issue about customer interactions with websites within marketing. It will be interesting. And we will talk about key privacy interaction moments with the user and client, and overall CGM and GDPR compliance. We'll make sure to create some checklist for your service, and we'll be talk a little bit about how to create a decent cookie banner and how to provide information to users on your website.
Yeah. Decent cookie banner, it's good. Okay, and one more moment today, as you remember, there is a war in Ukraine, and a lot of kids suffer from this war. And we opened a donation line. I think we started in February for the house for children who don't have parents, who lose parents because of war. It's called Smerichka, and there are a lot of babies there who need some stuff, clothes, food, and so on. And we tried to get some donations for them. Also, we donate ourselves as well. For now, we've raised about $5,000, and most of them are already spent on different stuff. And we actually ask you also to help Ukrainian children, namely these Ukrainian children who lost their parents, by donating some funds. All information can be find on our page. You can just go to Legal IT Group and you will find our page about charity, so that you can donate. Even $5 really matter. Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on. Also, I see there are a lot of viewers on LinkedIn and YouTube. If you hear and see as well, you can tell us about it. And also, you can tell us about yourself, like who you are, what do you do here, what do you want to learn, to study, and so on. This webinar is mostly for marketers and for people who want to increase the customer journey map in frames of GDPR touches with their customers. Okay, so I should start, I think, with this point. Like KGM is a digital experience the user gets upon interacting with the product. So imagine your product as some kind of a way. There is a point where the user may find out that he needs something you sell. For instance, you sell you have some SaaS product, I don't know, CRM, for example, and he needs CRM. He types in Google, okay, I need CRM. There is Google AdWords actually advertisement of your company. He comes to your website. You already know that he came from your website. He goes through your website. He clicks OK to your cookie banner, and then he goes away. Next thing, actually, what happens? He sees your banner, advertising banner in advertisement in a Facebook, and in a Facebook, he understands that you actually reached him by the remarketing. So he clicks again, and he goes on the landing page of your CRM. He is registering in your CRM and clicks accept for all, I don't know, your granular consent, and gives you all the data he has. And then he finds out that his data is used by some third parties, and he receives a lot of, I don't know, mails and so on, not about your product, but from your partners with whom you share that information. That's not good, because you have to be actually understandable, and you have to give the user all information. How will you use his data, what he will do with it, and how it will be stored, and with whom it will be shared. So when we talk about customer journey map in frames of privacy, we talk about trust and understandable, meaningful communication. Okay, and Igor, what can you tell us about data flow? Like, because here we have two concepts, KGM and data flow mapping. Igor?
I'm sorry, I'm here. Yeah. When you talk about data flow mapping, overall, it's important to know for the company how personal data of their clients or their employees or their prospects can be processed or transmitted. And in the first place, when you draw in your data flow map, you need to understand whether data you store and you process is personal data in the meaning of data protection laws, namely GDPR, CCPA, or GPD. And because some data that you process maybe cannot allow you to identify users. And in this case, for example, anonymized information cannot be regarded as personal data under GDPR. So GDPR is not applicable to such processing. And you should identify all of these touches, like Anthony invented this word for data flow mapping and KGM. And you need to reveal in your data flow mapping some information about companies with whom you may share information, about categories of data that you processed, categories of data subjects concerned about your processing, and you need to put this all on your data flow map, which can be which can be a look of a diagram, for example, a scheme, and so on. Yeah.
Okay, so when we talk about CGM, we talk about some perception of the user of the way he interacts with your product. And during this way, he actually grants you some personal data. And when we talk about how do this GM and data flow work between each other, we talk about that at some point, this personal data that user gives you is put on your data flow mapping. And within data flow mapping, you can see all the journey of this personal data from either from the actually providing this data to the maybe to deleting this data after some repeatable usage. Okay, so let's move on and focus
Mhm.
on our key GDPR key interaction moments. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I think I'll start.
Uh-huh.
And we'll start with first time coming to the website point. And when your potential client or prospect first came to your website, it's exact the point where GDPR starts work because you're starting to process some personal data. At this point, customer only open your website and do not provide any personal data by itself, but their device does. And you may collect some personal information like IP address, type of device, operational system of used on device, and so on, so on. But you can also use already some necessary cookies, for example, those preventing fraud. And when user firstly coming to your website, you already at this point starting to process some personal data. And because of that, it's important to present cookie banner or cookie notice. It can be linked to your privacy policy or cookie policy to your user because most of services starting to use cookies when user do not have registered account on the website. And further, I'll talk about use of cookie banners and cookie notice a little bit later. But now I want to tell you about first time advertising scene. The display of advertising itself is not restricted within the GDPR, but if you use personal data to personalized advertising, then you need to have a legal basis to do such a processing. And in practice, most advertising publishers rely on user consent as the legal basis for processing personal data. And here it's important to understand that even if you use third-party services to display advertising, you will still be a data controller. And this means that you have certain obligations under GDPR. For example,
Well, for
for
example, sorry, Igor, for
yeah.
example, if I will take some, if I have some email base, I don't know,
Mhm,
100 emails, and I go to Facebook and
mhm.
provide him with all these emails and tell Facebook, please show my advertisements to all these emails. In this case, I will be a controller of this personal data.
In this case, you will be with Facebook both joint controllers
Mm,
because there was a case and you can find information about use of remarketing Facebook pixel on Facebook joint controller addendum. And when you put this Facebook pixel on your website, you will be a joint controller. Yeah, something like that.
okay. Okay, so and when we talk about this moment about cookie notice and cookie banners, so for many marketers, they say that these cookie banners they are not actually good thing because users don't like them. Do we
Mhm.
have to put this cookie banner, cookie notice on our website in any case when we talk about GDPR compliance?
Yeah, we have to because it's a matter of compliance. And the main part, you need not to just put this cookie banner. You need to do to create this cookie banner comfortable to users. And I'll talk a little bit of that later. I can talk now if you want,
Of
and
course.
we can go back later. Uh, I can share with you some tips and tricks about cookie banners, and
Hmm.
this useful tips can help you to create a cookie banner and that be first of all understandable to your users and understandable and not distracting from the content of website, I think. And for example, first of all, you need to highlight headings in your cookie banner. And this thing is about design because you should try to create a cookie banner in a way that makes it easier to read information, easier to understand. And if you describe the purposes of using cookies, you should choose short headings and make a brief description of each purpose. And at this stage, when you display cookie banner on your website, the main thing is to be understandable. But the user could want to obtain more detailed information about your use of cookies. And at this point, you need to describe your purposes. And you can do this by different ways. For example, one of them is using a drop-down button that user can activate directly on the cookie banner and obtain information needed. But you can also put the link to your cookie policy, cookie notice, privacy policy, privacy notice, and provide needed information to user in such a way. And you also need to briefly describe purposes, why you using these cookies, why you show this cookie banner to your user. And for example, if you deliver personalized advertising to your user, you need to say something like, we use marketing cookies to display personalized advertising based on your location. And in this case, you describe why you use this information, on what base, what cookies will be used. And for example, if you use cookies for personalizing content on the website, you should use, you might use some usage information. And you need to say that you process some information by cookies based on usage information. And the main thing at this point is instantly deliver information about what user data will be stored and for what purposes this data will be used. And other things how to deliver this information is about more about design and how to create this that users will not be distracted from the content. And another good practice at this point is made available information to users on a permanent basis. It can be a place that easily accessible from any point of website at any time. For example, it can be cookie setting, a model in a cookie policy or in privacy policy, or it can be placed on website footers, or for example, it can be realized through cookie icon, and you can see how this cookie icon implemented on ICO website. This is United Kingdom Supervisory Authority, and it's I think it will be very useful for you. Yeah, I think yeah.
Okay, that's great. That's really an important information about cookie banner, because someone may say like, okay, we just use cookies for everything, and that's it. Okay, let's move on. So the user came to your website, clicked OK with cookies and some marketing cookies, let's imagine that, and then he wants to register on our website. Okay, so he may do an entrance by using his Facebook or LinkedIn profile. On the other hand, he can click something like, I'm okay with your privacy policy and terms of use, and so on. So at this point, you have to give actually a link to your privacy policy as a menu. And if you wish to get a consent, your consent has to be the consent of the user has to be freely given, and so on. and it has to be understandable what he agrees for. These moments, like when he clicks on cookie banner and when he clicks on I agree, or fill some gaps with OK within consent, are very important. They have to be meaningful and rememberable for the user. He has to remember that, OK, I agreed to this. It's very important because when in future you will show to him some personalized advertisements based on his digital experience on what he did actually on your website, he will think, they are kind of cheaters because they show me some advertisement, they combine my data. I don't want. And in case that he understands what he gave his consent for, and he understands the value he receives from giving this consent, that he will receive a great personalized advertisement, so maybe some discounts and for the goods he likes most, and so on. He will actually understand the value of why it's important for him to give this consent. And in case your marketing, your GDPR touches will be comfortable, rememberable, and pleasant to the user, and he will understand that he is in control of his personal data. In this case, he may share more information with you. And when you will have more information, you will be able to provide more customized offers or more customized advertisements at the most moments that he likes, actually, or she likes. And in this case, you may sell more. So if we will put it in simple words, if you enhance your digital privacy experience of your customers highly, you can get more data because he will believe you, and using this data, sell him more goods, more services he needs. So you can actually, by increasing your privacy communication within customer journey map, you may increase the conversion from leads to clients. And that's, I think, the idea of this webinar. Increase your privacy communication by building trust, showing how what you do with privacy go beyond the compliance requirements, extend the expectations of the clients, and then he will actually give you this information, and you will be able to sell him more because you will know more about him and what is more relevant for him. It's very important. Okay, let's continue. What about FAQ on the website regarding privacy? Like what we do with GDPR? Igor, is that important actually?
Yeah, I think it's important because it's good to have an FAQ page or knowledge-based page which contain information about your data protection practices, about who is data controller, what personal data will be processed, on what legal grounds, with whom this data will be shared. And when you put this information in FAQ page, it is more user-friendly ways other than reading legal documents such as privacy policy or cookie policy. So you can create a FAQ page, and it can be served as additional information to those you already published in privacy policy, cookie policy, and other legal documents on your website.
And actually, having an FAQ page is going beyond the legal requirements of compliance, because there is no requirement in GDPR that you have to have a FAQ page. But on the other hand, when you do, you can gain more trust from the user. And it relates to the next point in our list, communication with support, like hi Bob. Because when you have an FAQ page, and when your users ask your support about what's happening with my data and so on, first of all, the support can tell them about FAQ page when it is all stated. Second of all, your support can use this FAQ page to give answers. And third point is that having a trained support team regarding privacy is also very important within digital experience of the customer. So in ideal case, for instance, you have a client who already made some repeatable purchases on your website, and he just starts to texting with your support, and they say to him, "Hi Bob, Why do they know his name? Because he remembers that he gave a consent. Okay, and he asks to actually to use some of his rights. He wants his data to be more accurate. For example, he says, "Okay, guys, I changed my favorite color. I don't know, from blue to red. Remember that now." And when he shares this information with support, he actually understands that in future he will be able to get more offers of clothes. I don't know, in a red color. And support, if he is trained, if this department works well, he will also know about privacy and how that works. And this combination of FAQ and trained support is vital in digital experience when we talk about privacy. Okay. So the next point actually is also connected. It's about seeing customized ad. It's mostly the result of his actually doings of data subjects that he committed before. There is a difference when he does not understand what is happening, and he sees this customized ad and he understands that in order to do this customized ad, the company has to use like 10 tons of his personal data, and he is scared because he doesn't understand what's happening, and he will most likely he may not purchase your goods in this case when he doesn't understand what's happening. And in case he does, when he remembers all the actions before, when you have a FAQ, when you have a trained personnel, he may actually make a purchase, but because he will feel the value of you using his information and bringing him all these great things. Good.
Thank you. And I think we should continue with getting information about yourself. We're going to talk about data subject rights under GDPR in this question, and how data subjects can realize their rights under GDPR. And getting the information about yourself is primarily covered by DSR, Data Subject Access Request, which provided in Article 15 of the GDPR. Thus, the data subject have a right to obtain confirmation whether their personal data being processed or not. And if their information is being processed, data subject has a right to request information about purposes of the processing, categories of personal data about him concerned, the recipients or categories of recipients of personal data, namely these third parties whom you may transfer personal data. Where possible, you can provide your user with information about envisaged period of storage of personal data, or if you not picked the exact period of storage of personal data, you should provide your user with the criteria used to determine this period. And for example, the registration data will be stored after 3 months after deletion of account. This is example of criteria used to determine the period. And you also should provide information to your user about the existence of other rights under GDPR, right to rectification, like Anton said about changing of favorite color, about restriction of processing, and other rights. The right to watch compliant with the supervisory authority, where personal data are not collected from the data subject. Also, any available information to source of personal data. For example, when user register their account on the website using other third-party services like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, the website obtain information not directly from user, but from these third-party services in token, and this token that transmitted by Google, Facebook, or Twitter to a website contains information about name, email. It may contain information about photo and other. And also, you should provide information whether you use automated decision making or profiling when you process personal data of user. For example, it can be online decision to avoid a loan, to make recruitment tests in automated form, and so on. And also, the user can have a right about deleting his information. And this is under Article 17 of the GDPR. It's called right to be forgotten or right to erasure. And data subject has a right to delete their personal data if certain conditions apply. If this data is no longer needed for the purpose for which it was collected, when individual withdraws their consent in situations with legitimate interest. If, for example, you as a company relies on legitimate interests and the individual objects to your legitimate interests, and you do not have override and there is no overriding legitimate interest that you have to continue such processing. And also, user can delete their information if personal data processed unlawfully, for example, with the breach of principles of GDPR, or, for instance, if you have a legal obligation to delete such information. For example, a new law has been enacted by European Union, or you have processed personal data of children. Yeah.
Okay, that's very nice and very like GDPR, many GDPR words. That's very
Yeah.
good. Okay, so what it means regarding the customer journey map of the user, it means actually that you have to you have to realize his or her rights, and it's part of the journey. Because in case when user understands that you don't actually work on his rights, you just declare like we can delete your data, we can curate your data, but you do not do that. It's a fail, and it's a fail of possible future purchases. Okay, so
Yeah.
we came actually to possible conclusion, and starting with the first point, like know your data. This is the fundamental principle of actually privacy compliance, GDPR compliance, and I believe truly it's also the fundamental principle of marketing. Because if you do not know your data about customers, about users, you do not know anything about your business. So, if in case you want to enhance your marketing, enhance your customer journey map and conversion rate, you may start with 2 points. First thing, you may take your customer journey map and think of it in frames of data. And second, you may take your data flow mapping and also understand how do they relate to each other. And actually, that will give you a lot of ideas how to improve what is happening and how does the user feel when he actually goes through what digital experience he gets when he goes through your KGM. And it's the second point which I want to emphasize. Try to test the how your privacy works within the interaction of users. On when you try to walk in shoes of your users, when to try to be your user, and to try to get all the rights. Actually, try to speak with support. Try to find out what is in FAQ, what's happening. Do you trust? In case you wouldn't know about your company, would you trust it because of its privacy? Would you make a purchase because you believe they are worth your trust, and so on? And this third point, make privacy touches important. Igor, do you believe that it's important to make privacy touches important?
Yeah, I think it's very important to make privacy touches important.
Mhm.
And no jokes, it's important to provide all necessary information to your user when you interact with him or her. But you should know that when GDPR applies to you, it's also the obligation for the companies under GDPR to provide information regarding their use of personal data of data subjects. And you can read articles 13 and 14 of GDPR and find some information regarding what information you need to provide to your users in your privacy policy, on your banners, privacy pop-ups, and this is really useful. As Anton said before, it's good practice to check your website as a user, check your cookie banners, privacy pop-ups, and how it's understandable for users. You should try create new account, visit your website from a different device, check the quality of banners, of privacy pop-ups, how you implement this privacy culture in your website.
Okay, that's really great. And the last but not least, of course, good FAQ page and train support team, because it's the sources where your possible client and now lead, the user, can find out information about what is happening, where he or she can build a trust to your company. In case of a good level of support, he will understand everything. He may realize his rights upon communication of support with support, and that's very important. So one more time, the whole idea of this event is to make a point, that increasement of or enhancement of privacy, of quality of privacy touches within the user's digital experience lead to possible increasement in conversion rate, because the user will trust your company more, and he will see that you go beyond the compliance and care much about his privacy. And that may mean that you care much about the quality of your service, about the timing of your service, and about the user himself. So enhance your privacy, enhance your conversion rate, and do good. That's it. Okay, and that's maybe the end. I thank you all for being here with us in LinkedIn, in YouTube. Send your messages to us, write your emails on our website, on our email. And in case you will want to increase your digital experience of your users in frames of privacy touches, just ask us. We can help you with that, making audit, making documents, making UX texts, privacy UX texts, and so on. Okay, and on this moment we say goodbye and thank you very much. Do we?
Thank you
Yeah.
for watching us. Yeah.
Yeah, goodbye. See you.
Goodbye.